It's day 18 of the hush money trial. The star witness is back on the stand. Here's Trump arriving at court.
Mr. Trump, will you testify? Mr. President, are you looking forward to debating Biden? Are you worried about a conviction?
Will you testify, Mr. Trump? Thank you very much. We are going to be, excuse me. We are going to be working with a lot of people over the next couple of weeks. This is finishing up. At some point it'll be finished. Every single review, every legal scholar that I've been able to read said there's no case, there's no crime. It's a disgrace that it was allowed to happen. The judge, as you know, is highly conflicted, like nobody I've ever seen is conflicted. He should not be the judge. He should not be allowed to have anything to do with this case. He should be so far away from this case. Outside, if you take a look, it looks like we're Fort Knox. There's so many police and they don't allow people to come. You know, you're allowed to have friendly protests, but we're not allowed to have anything here. They have more police and more assistant DAs and DAs. I've never seen anything like it. Over what everybody, Alan Dershowitz, everybody said there's no crime here. There's no crime. Jonathan Turley, every single person, Greg Jarrett, Andy McCarthy, look, anyone you want to name, Mark Levin, great lawyer, all of them, great lawyers, great legal scholars. Every single one said there's no crime. The crime is that they're doing this case. This was a case that wasn't going to be done, and then when I announced I was running, they brought it up. They could have done it 7 years ago. This could have been brought 7 years ago. But they wanted it right smack in the middle of election. These are very dishonest people that we're dealing with. But outside, it's like Fort Knox. You can't get within 3 blocks of this place if you're a civilian. And it's a shame what they're doing. What they're doing in terms of suppression and election interference has never been anything like that. The good news is the polls are through the roof. One just came out way up in North Carolina, way up in Georgia, way up in Nevada, way up in Arizona. Overall, way up, leading by 5, 6, 7 points. Crooked Joe Biden, most crooked president we've ever had, the worst president in the history of our country. We have a lot of congressmen and some senators down today, and they're all up in arms over this. They can't even believe it. We have quite a few congressmen. I guess you'll be talking to them in a little while. But I want to thank you very much for coming. At least we're getting the word out, but it's very unfair. I'd like to be in these various states where I should be campaigning like anybody else. This is a Biden trial. This all comes out of the White House and the Department of Justice. This is all them. In fact, a lead person from the DOJ is running the trial. So Biden's office is running this trial. This trial is a scam, and it's a sham, and it shouldn't happen. Thank you very much for sealing it.
Will you testify, Mr. Trump?
Do you have faith about the debate? Do your voters believe you? Do you have faith in your legal team?
Will you testify, Mr. Trump?
Donald Trump's lawyer hit back against prosecutors, accusing Michael Cohen of repeatedly lying. On the most tense day yet, Michael Cohen, Trump's former fixer, described talking to the former president directly about a hush money payment to an adult film star. But attorney Todd Blanche all but shouted Cohen's testimony was a lie. Records, he said, show Cohen called Mr. Trump's bodyguard about a prank caller. Mr. Blanche's alternate theory of the phone call was designed to sow doubt on Cohen's third day on the stand, as the jury watched the furious exchange with intense focus. Following the heated moment, Mr. Blanche stormed back to the defense table and sat down next to his client. When the judge announced an afternoon recess, there was a collective exhale in the room. Mr. Trump is charged with 34 felony counts of falsifying business records, for allegedly disguising payments to Cohen as legal expenses when they were in fact reimbursements for paying off film star Stormy Daniels, who claimed she had sex with him. Prosecutors allege Mr. Trump sought to keep damaging information from the public to protect his 2016 presidential campaign. Mr. Trump has pleaded not guilty to all counts and denied having sex with Ms. Daniels. On the stand Thursday under pressure, Cohen maintained that his previous testimony was true and that he spoke to Mr. Trump about the payout to Ms. Daniels on a call on October 24, 2016. Earlier this week, prosecutors asked Cohen about the call to help establish Mr. Trump's alleged direct knowledge of the payoff scheme. Cohen testified that he kept his boss aware during every step of the process of paying Ms. Daniels. As the man at the center of the payout, Cohen's testimony is crucial for prosecutors to prove whether or not Mr. Trump had knowledge of the allegedly fraudulent reimbursement plan. But Cohen's criminal record, history of lying to Congress, and profane public criticism of Mr. Trump makes him a flawed witness. In 2018, he pleaded guilty to federal campaign finance crimes over the hush money payment, but maintains that he sent the money at Mr. Trump's direction. The defense seized on Cohen's credibility issues for nearly 2 days and sought to paint him as a liar with a vendetta against Mr. Trump. On Thursday morning, Mr. Blanche played recordings from Mr. Cohen's podcast, Mea Culpa, where the witness expressed a desire to see the former president go through the booking process and said of Mr. Trump, "I want this man to go down." Mr. Blanche also confronted Cohen with an ex-post where he called the former president Dumbass Donald. "Does the outcome of this trial affect you personally?" Mr. Blanche asked him. "Yes," Cohen replied. The president's attorney pressed Cohen repeatedly about his guilty plea for lying to Congress and aggressively questioned Cohen about previous statements he pleaded guilty to. Several hours of similar questioning all led to the dramatic showdown over the October 24, 2016 phone call. Mr. Blanche first asked Cohen if he recalled receiving harassing calls in late October 2016. Cohen confirmed he had. Mr. Blanche then displayed communications between Cohen and Mr. Trump's bodyguard, Keith Schiller, on October 24 discussing how to deal with the prank calls. Amid their discussions about the prank caller is a call between Cohen and Mr. Schiller that Cohen previously testified he made to discuss the payout to Ms. Daniels with Mr. Trump. That call lasted 1 minute and 36 seconds. Mr. Blanche expressed skepticism that Cohen could have discussed both the prank caller and the 6-figure payout in such a brief period. But Cohen countered that part of that call was about the 14-year-old who was behind the calls. He knew that Mr. Schiller was with their boss at the time, and the call was about more than just the harassment, he said. Cohen insisted he always ran everything by the boss immediately, and that he did so on that call. The response drew a dramatic reaction from Mr. Blanche. "That was a lie," he declared loudly. Numerous Republican members of Congress filled the benches behind Mr. Trump on Tuesday in a show of partisan support. Here's Trump leaving court.
Mr. Trump, do you plan to testify? President Trump, are you going to Maryland's graduation?
Are you going to testify?
I called you.
Well, thank you very much. I think it was a very interesting day. It was a fascinating day. And it shows what a scam this whole thing is. And I think that seems to be the way almost everybody, even CNN and MSDNC, they have quotes over here that are drop the trial. Ellie Honig, this is a statement he just made, would not have even charged this case. This case shouldn't have been charged, meaning it should have never been started against me. Nicholas Chambers, lawyer, Newsmax, there's no law against securing a non-disclosure agreement. There's none. Everybody has them. Every company has them. Out of concern for your marriage or protecting your family or any other reason, they're common. Non-disclosure, NDAs. The Manhattan show trial against President Trump is a gross abuse of power. It's a disgusting spectacle, he says. And it should terrify all of us, and that's true. Jonathan Turley, Fox News, judge has failed to protect rights of defendant in requiring clarity. Trump did not violate federal election law at all. I didn't violate any law. It was a scam. Bragg cannot prosecute federal election law. It's not under his jurisdiction. DOJ declined to bring the action. As you know, DOJ looked at this a long time ago. This case it was going to be brought, which it should have never been brought, should have been brought 7 or 8 years ago. They didn't do that because they wanted to bring it right in the middle of the election, and especially since we're leading in every poll. It's a weird situation where judges allowed prosecutors to refer to election violations. And as you know, the federal elections looked at it, and they didn't bring anything, and it's under their jurisdiction. That was from Jonathan Turley. Andrew McCarthy. NDAs are legal in common, yet Bragg alleges Trump's was illegal. I have the only illegal NDA. It seems that Trump's crime by blue state lights was winning the election. That was my crime. I won an election that I wasn't supposed to win against Hillary Clinton. And that's not a crime. Either Republican in New York, it's not a crime. Bragg wants to prosecute Trump for federal campaign finance crimes, something he has no jurisdiction to do. This is from Andrew McCarthy, highly respected. He's got no jurisdiction to do, and that the feds, who do have jurisdiction, decided not to do it, not to charge. They decided not to do it. They looked at this, they decided not to do it. This was Bragg, who, by the way, didn't want to do it himself. And then when I started running, when I announced that I was running, all of a sudden it became a hot item again. This is a political persecution. Human Events editorial board, this case is a joke. Ashton Kutcher's going to pop and left to tell us that we've been punked. I think I know what that means. The series of glorified legal pranks has seriously called into question the impartiality of the American justice system. Justice is blind, yet, unlike this case, justice is not dumb. Would appreciate it if they do the right thing. We would very much appreciate it if they do the right thing. Sean Hannity, Fox News. How did they come to this legal theory? Shows there is a problem with our legal system. We're supposed to believe in equal justice under the law, and this is not happening in America. Michael Goodwin of the New York Post, highly respected media obsession about the partisan show trial of defendant Donald Trump is obscuring a far more significant truth about him. Candidate Trump has opened up his biggest lead in the presidential campaign. Polls of battleground states, along with such evidence and such other evidence as the enormous turnout of over 100,000 people in New Jersey rally this last weekend, and dispirited concessions by Joe Biden supporters signal that we've reached a turning point in the battle for the White House. It's all a big disgrace. It's all political. Jason Cohen, the Daily Caller, respected voters told MSNBC the cases have increased their support for Trump. They went out to the voters and they said, we like Trump a lot better now because they see what's happening with this horrible witch hunt. It said, I've talked to many people who formerly identified as a Democrat. A certain voter, I won't use the name, but said they have changed their political persuasion to independent and are now looking forward to voting, very forward to voting for Donald Trump. These are people that were Democrats and they're looking to vote for Donald Trump. Trump support with black men has surged in all 7 battleground states by large numbers. CNN Chief National Affairs Correspondent Jeff Zeleny said Monday that swing state voters tell him they're disgusted and tired of what's going on here with the Trump trial. Charles Compton, New York Post, had this case gone to an elected New York State Supreme Court judge, elected is the word, chances are he or she would have dismissed such a baseless political persecution or prosecution against Trump. However, acting Supreme Court justices like Juan Merchan are political appointees subject to political manipulation. That's true. While Trump is charged with fraud, it's Bragg and his political handlers who are the ones that are committing it. Andrew and Katie Cherkowski, these are high-level lawyers, very prominent. New York case against Donald Trump is drawing to a close, but one critical aspect seems to be missing. Where's the crime? These are 2 very powerful, very good lawyers, highly respected. Mike Davis, highly respected. This is blatant lawfare and election interference by the radical Democrats, including President Biden himself. Oh, Biden is judge, and the ones with him, the one circling that beautiful resolute desk in the Oval Office. Democrats do not have a case against President Trump. This is a witch hunt. This is a prosecution without a case. This is all political. This is done to damage a political opponent like a third world country would do. Jeremy Hunt, Fox News. This is about one man, Alvin Bragg, who puts his political ambition over the rule of law and the judicial system. And New York has got to do something about what's happening, because you look at Judge Engoron, you look at Judge Kaplan, what they've done, it's disgraceful. Everyone's laughing at the New York system, and companies are leaving, people are leaving, but major companies with tremendous taxpayer dollars and employers of millions of people, literally, people are leaving. They're taking their companies, and they're all watching this case, and they're watching Engoron too, and they're watching Kaplan. Tom Fitton, the Biden Democratic Party sham, and the sham trial and other abuses of Trump are an international scandal that harms America, and it really does. It really harms America. It's from Tom Fitton. Our country's reputation is a shining city on the hill. It's tarnished now by political persecution of Trump. Now the whole world sees our system as no better than theirs. We're a banana republic. It's very sad. Then we have story after story about how this trial is one that should have, as they say, never been charged. It should have never been brought. And again, if it was going to be brought, it should have been brought years ago. You know, they're trying to rush to get it done before the election so that they can harm me, so they can hurt their political opponent. They're rushing. All this rush. There's no rush. These trials take forever. But this one, they're rushing it. We're here at early in the morning and we leave in the evening. Now the judge wants to extend the time periods so that we can get this thing done fast before the election. It's terrible. Nobody's ever seen anything like it. That includes the other cases too, including the civil cases. And they all come out indirectly and directly. They come out of the White House and the DOJ. I want to say just one thing. I've seen some very bad news come out on inflation, on the economy, on the EV mandate, electric vehicle mandate, how crazy it is. It's going to destroy our country. It's so crazy. But I saw something today that's maybe worse than anything. President Xi of China, I know him well, and President Putin of Russia, I know him well. They're right now together working on plans where they combine, where they get together and do damage, because that's ultimately what they're thinking about, doing damage. And you take a look at what President Xi said today. He fully expects to take Taiwan. He made that statement today. That's a big statement. And I'm sitting here in an icebox. I'm sitting here listening to a case that even people from CNN and MSDNC say should never have been brought. I've been sitting here for almost 4 weeks, and we still have a long way to go. And I just want to thank all the lawyers involved, because they've been really working hard. And I'm spending a lot of time, and I'm spending a lot of money, which is what they want. They want me to spend my time and my money. And I'm willing to do it, because ultimately we have to fight for the Constitution. Thank you very much, everyone.
Are you ready to...
Testify? Will
Do you want
testify?
Mr. Smith to testify?
Are you going to debate? Are you worried about being convicted?
How much money are you spending?
That's it for day 18. If you want more updates from this trial, then I'd appreciate it if you could subscribe to my channel. Until next time.